Hello and welcome to Season 10, Episode 29 of The Purple Rain. It is the Elimination Final Preview Oz, brought to you by our great sponsors, DR Travels, Bloom Real Estate, and So Nam Capital. Oz, how you going? It's been a little bit longer between drinks.
Mate, I've missed your face. I've missed the conversations because I tell you what, people are up and about. Shout out to the mighty crew of JDC. I had our 1 year reunion last night and had all of the footy heads coming over and from
Talking
left,
shop.
right, and centre, like all the members, the girls, the guys, just asking, "Hey, what is happening? Are we going to win?" And that was great, just to be able to talk Freo. My place of work as well at the moment, footy diehards, Fremantle supporters, what's going on? We'll talk about Switter soon. Again, students pumped. Fremantle, what are we doing? And I'm wearing my suit today with my Dockers member badge that I use as part of my indoctrination process. I'm trying to get more members as the days go past with the kiddies. And shout out to my son's school who put on a great sort of a Father's Day liturgy and all that sort of stuff, which was great. So I had all the poppies there, and that was good. But it led to this moment, Duck. This moment that I'm so excited about Saturday night. Like, you know, it's all leading up to this fanfare. And as a new dad yourself and one on the way, you have so many things to be thinking of right now. And all I could think about is what happens if we're in the midst of this, let's just say for argument's sake, euphoria. Let's say things are going well and you get the call.
Mate, it's out the door. See you later.
Out the door,
Out
mate.
the door. See you later. I love Fremantle, but I love my family more.
And how you going, by the way?
I'm going well, man. I've been a bit crook, which isn't great, but there's like this flu going around.
It's going around.
Give me the irrits. But no, I'm up and about, Oz. I'm very excited for this final on Saturday. I think that we are a red hot chance against Gold Coast, and the way things line up, it'll be interesting to see what happens on Friday night with the Cats Brisbane, because we'll be playing the winner of this game plays the loser of that game, and we don't want to look too far ahead.
Yep.
But it's just one of those things where I think I'd be quietly confident if Brisbane win and we're playing Geelong at the G. I think we do really well at the G. So, you know, it's just one of those things, Oz, where I think we've got a lot of game ahead of us. We've got a big game against Gold Coast. They're definitely no slouches. They've won 15 games this year. You know, they're not. They had a couple of little surprise losses here and there throughout the season, which probably is the reason why they are as eighth. But I think they're going to be up for the fight as well. They've got a lot of bloody good players. Noah Anderson, Matt Rao, Took Miller. That is as good as midfield. Chuck in Bid Whitties. You know, that's as good a midfield as you're likely to see. I think Sam Collins, the old dual citizen, he's been really good. Lockie Weller, even to an extent, with their man Noble and Rioli. Didn't realise Rioli played the last game. He'd been out for a while, but he played the game against Essendon, and isn't that just a nice little game to get settled into? You know, so they've got really good bounce off the back line. They've got a really good midfield, and they've got Big Ben King up forward, who's kicked bags this year. And you know, Oz, it's one of those things where I think we've got to just continue to play our brand of footy, get on top in the midfield when we can, and hopefully come away with the biscuits.
Yeah, look, I think so. I think it's going to be great. Very much looking forward to it. And one of the things that I like about the current Fremantle team is the ability to absorb and come back and show the resilience. And I think I said maybe 5-6 weeks ago now, Duck, about how impressed I've been with the mental aspect of the game and those behind the scenes working on the sports psychology and whatnot in getting the players' mindset right. And you have to give the shout out to JL, who since essentially the butt whooping of St Kilda has steered the ship with a mindset of living in the now and taking it one game at a time. And I think Luke Ryan in an interview, whether it was, I don't know, midweek, I can't remember when it was, with Ryan Daniels. I think it was Ryan Daniels, and he was talking about some stern words were said and some challenges were made to the group and some home truths. And I think one thing is to be able to deliver a message. The other thing is to be able to accept it and grow with it. And I think this team has embraced it.
Yeah, and I think it's like the big issue with the Dockers since 2022 is that we have been an old-fashioned bathwater side. We have drunk our own bathwater. We thought we were $1,000,000. Anytime we had a good win, it was then followed up with a devastating loss. And I think our man from West Coast, what's the old Simpson, Adam Simpson, said it the best, is that Dockers fans and that then flows into the club. We catastrophize and we amplify. We think that every win's the greatest win and book the bus and flag mantle. And we're all a part of that.
Buy the t-shirt.
Book the bus t-shirt, and flag mantle. And here we come. And then when we lose, it's sack the coach, blow up the club, get rid of everyone.
Yep.
Now, Oz, we can't sit here, and me in particular, I can't sit here and say, I'm not a part of that echo chamber and I'm not one that's going, what should we do? Like after the St Kilda loss, we sat down and dissected what do we do with J-Lo and whether or not, the right thing to do is to get an experienced coach or get an inexperienced coach, and I think after this season, we just keep pressing ahead with J-Lo.
Yep.
I think realistically, there's no one out there that's better than him for our club at the moment. And I think one of the big things is, and I went on the what's it called? Sorry, I've forgotten the name of the podcast. I went on a podcast last week to talk about it. It's called the Washed Up Podcast.
That's the one.
Go on that. Make
Good
sure you
listen.
get on that. Yeah, no, it was good. It was plenty of random names that I threw out there. But, there's no one better than JL at the moment. But the big thing about JL, and I think even Simon Garlick may have said this on Duff Show the other day, is that he's not a big self-promoter.
Yep.
He's all about everyone else.
Can I just tap
which I
into this,
really
mate?
loved. Yeah, mate. Big
So
time.
one of the things that we talk about in leadership circles is the ability to lead with humility and to be able to lead with that sense of calmness. And I think one thing that JL's been able to do, and I think we tapped into it when we actually sat down and dissected that St Kilda game. I said, look, just letting you know, before you start talking about whether he comes and whether he goes or whatever, here are the statistics on throwing out a coach and bringing in a coach and stuff. And let's be real with it. And I think what JL has proven is he is, in many respects, above all of that in terms of a conversation, because he just backs his troops in and he does what he does. And whilst, a lot of people are talking about ball movement and all that sort of stuff, he understands that there's more to that conversation, that he doesn't need to come forward and explain. He doesn't need to justify what he does because he knows that he's got the backing of the club. So therefore he just goes ahead and does what he does.
Yeah.
And the players buy into that, and they have bought into that, and the manner in which they've spoken about JL and backing him in. And I think Luke Ryan said more or less, the talk about JL, in media circles essentially is bullshit. And I think he called it out for what it is. And I think in many aspects as a coach, if your players back you in to that level, there has to be buy-in.
Yeah.
And I think if you look at the way in which players respond, and some coaches are guilty with ride or die, and those players ultimately don't deliver, and then you go down. But I think JL sees something different with this side, particularly when if there's a lull, what he doesn't do is, like you mentioned before, he doesn't catastrophize. And he's like, well, okay, well, let's just bring it back. Just chill. And if you can recall when we had the privilege of being in the room when they won, I think they won after a loss or whatever, and he talked about the roller coaster and the business cycle and so forth. And the calmness, that was probably the first time I've seen, well, in terms of coaches talking to players, the manner in which he addressed the players, I'm like, oh, God damn, we've got a real leader here.
Yeah.
Because of the calmness and the ability to address what needs to be addressed. Didn't need the hoo-ha.
Yeah.
Just this is what it is. And I think today's players buy into that.
That's what they want.
And in terms of leadership, I think it's super important. So yeah.
Easy. All right, Oz, let's get into this preview, shall we? This week's preview is brought to you by DR Travels. For all your travel needs, make sure you get in contact with Daniel on 0474 064 629. Put that number on speed dial for for Saturday night about 8:30 when you're booking tickets to either Brisbane or Geelong. Hey, there you do. Or flick him an email, daniel.rees@globaltravelnetwork.com.au. Now, Oz, the teams have just been announced.
Yes, I just saw that.
Isaiah Dudley and Nathan O'Driscoll in for Sam Switkowski. Big out, that one. And Corey Wagner. Both guys have been outstanding this year. For Gold Coast, it's Swallow in, Rogers out. I think Swallow's going to play the sub role, similar to Fifey. So team pretty much exactly the same as what we expected. Surprised that Matt Johnson didn't get a gig?
No, not because I don't think he could play. I just think in terms of fitting into this side, I thought it was more about whether his ankle was going to be at 100%. And I think there's some probably lingering doubt. And he did play that one game with Peel, but because they haven't played finals, he hasn't had an opportunity to
get through a run.
It's
weird,
run.
Isn't it? Because you'd hope that, and look, you don't want to make the integrity of the Waffle reserves, but surely he could have had a run. Like he couldn't play it anywhere. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that's a bit of a tough one. So look, obviously Switkowski been very good this year and had the sore knee, and Wagner with the torn pec out for the season.
Yep.
But Oz, obviously, last time we played these guys, 11-point victors up at Carrara. Cox kept King to 1-1. I just went back and had a look through my my notes. Brayshaw and Sarong were outstanding in the guts. Clark played one of his best games, 9 coaches' votes. The big prancing pony kicked 3 goals, 1, and Bolton and Jackson were outstanding. And they're the type of guys we really need to stand up come this final time. Coaches' votes, Clark got 9. Noah Anderson had a hell of a game, got 6 votes. Bolton 5, Jackson 5, Brayshaw 2, Switter 2, and Rao 1. So Switter was really good as well. I think kicked a goal, had a couple of goal assists, highest rated player on the field according to Champion Data. So he will be sorely missed. We're all good, mate. I just heard a little click then. That's all right. No, we're all good. So, taking into last time we played as well, the scores from stoppage was a little bit of an issue. And I think if you recall, it's when Darcy came back to play kind of the first game after a little bit of a couple of shockers. They won scores from stoppage 48-34, so we went down by 14 points. But in the turnover game, we won. We scored 41 points to their 16. In the forward half in particular, our turnover and stoppage forward half scores were 66-40. So we won by that by 26. So turnovers, forward half turnovers if we can, stoppages in the turnover. Stoppages in the forward half. All our forward half work has to be a really crucial part of how we're going to win this game.
Yeah, look, absolutely. We know weather permitting. We know it's all going to be about the clearances and the hard ball gets and all that sort of stuff. And like you said, winning in midfield. But one thing that we can rely on is when the players step up and they're basically named to come into the side, that I think we've got more players now that are game ready to play, like because we've had to rotate through a few guys, and with those guys coming in, I don't think they'll certainly go what traditionally has been throwing a guy into the fire, so to speak. They know exactly what is expected of them. I love the live wire that is Dudders, and I think he's essentially going to be that spark I think that we need in that forward line. I'm excited about what we can do in the wet. I think in the wet we go pretty well.
Yep.
I do think the weather coming in does sort of change a few things. And if you look at how we played the Gold Coast last time, Duck, they really tried in the rain to continue to have that heavy handball chain type game, which Fremantle are adept at stopping in terms of their bigger bodies and in the wet able to control that. So I think it's actually going to come down to the style and whether each style is able to adjust to the weather and whether each team can execute said style in the weather.
Yeah, well, obviously chances of shower in the morning to afternoon, so it'll be interesting to see what happens in the evening on Saturday. Look, I think it's one of those things, isn't it, Oz, that, it's who adapts to the conditions at best. Obviously, Gold Coast are used to playing in slippery conditions, but not necessarily wet conditions, although they do go somewhat hand in glove. I just think as well, Oz, just the fact of the matter is that, we forget that that Nathan O'Driscoll coming into the side played in the last final that we played in. So he's got that final experience. It's interesting. I go on two ways with the final. So obviously and shout out to our man Marky Foreman who had this one on 6PR where Gold Coast final experience is 21 games. So they will double their finals experience in their game. But like the Dockers, they've got a lot of like a bit more finals experience. But I always go back to the Bill Belichick saying where he said, well, do you think Lawrence Taylor had any finals experience when in the 85 he just wrecked or it might have been 86 when New York won and he just wrecked the finals as a rookie? Like it doesn't matter. Like for people who are champions.
Yeah.
Having finals experience doesn't really, very, very rarely do people get overawed by finals. It's interesting to see as well. Gold Coast, obviously, in the last 10 games against the Dockers are 3-7. In WA, they've played 20 games and they are 4-16. That's their last 10 games in WA, but overall in WA, 4-16. They've played the Dockers, they're 5-11 and 1-5 in WA, have never won at Optus. Gold Coast against the Dockers. They've obviously won against the Eagles. The Dockers have won the last 3 in a row. So that means J-Lo against Hardwick has generally been on the right side. And I think even if we go back to J-Lo, how he played, we used to beat Richmond as well. I think obviously Richmond are on the way down and we're on the way up in a lot of those cases. So I think J-Lo's got the slight wood over Hardwick. But in saying that, Oz, what do you think? What's your tip for Saturday night? What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, look, I do think Fremantle win. I think it's going to be some of the players who step up to play their potential, which is what we need them to do in terms of our 22. So we need, I think, another game like Banner's game, and I'm bringing this up early. Banner's game against Western Bulldogs was outstanding. And I know that he had a couple of Banners moments, and that's fine. But we need that type of game because his ability to be that utility and that cooler head is critical because we need cool heads out there. We need mature heads out there, and I think people need to realize with Banners, he's certainly a seasoned campaigner now. And he's
played over 100 games.
He's seen it now.
Oz, shout out to Juddy for giving me this stat. He played in the last 2 finals as a sub. Didn't register a possession in either of them.
Okay,
so I'm not sure if he even went on in either of those finals.
Yeah. I also
because it used to be the old concussion sub.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Yes. Good point. Good point. Also, think the tools, Duck. I think that the tools, weather permitting, I think the tools are going to be a massive factor.
Yeah.
Can they control the prancing pony? Do they go to him as their who does the number one defender go to? Does it go to Jai? Does he go to Voss? Because obviously JT comes up the ground.
Yeah.
So what do they do?
Well, it'll be interesting because I think Collins will struggle, like you said, to go with the Big Dick Cyclone because he's just
Big Dick Cyclone, mate. He's on fire.
He's got aerobic capacity.
Yep.
Mac Andrews may go to him, a guy who can run. So I don't know. I think maybe you match up Sam Collins on a miss with the ability to peel off, but then you've got to pay a miss a bit of respect after last week's game. It was interesting because obviously, like we pay attention to this closer, but we generally say that Pat Voss has had a better season than Jai Miss. He's only like a couple of days older or a couple of months older than him. But like the AFL put out this thing like which young forward's going to tear this finals apart? And they did have Voss. They had a Miss and Tracy. And I was like, well, Voss is he's younger than Tracy, but older than a Miss. So where's the guess he's playing croquet or something. But you know what I mean? Like he could be the kind of guy who does have a really solid game and take it to the next level in regards to being able to kick a score because we know once we get over 80, we're winning most games.
Can I ask this question?
Yep.
With regards to Bolton, obviously Hardwick coached him for many a year.
Oh, yep.
You would think that Hardwick would know his game inside out.
Yeah.
So does JL look to change a couple of things?
Bolton 20 touches, 3 goals, 2 last time they played. Absolutely dominated. I think that gives Bolton a little bit of a fire in the belly, show his old mate. Like, I don't think there's too much of an issue. Like, if there's but I think there's always that little bit of, I'll just show you how good I am. So I think Bolton really will prove his worth.
This is why we brought him in.
Yeah, this is why we brought him. That's why I brought him and Jackson in. They're two guys who have won a flag. And I'm pretty sure, looking over that, they're the only two guys in our team that have won a flag. So we need those guys who know how to have those deep runs. Shall we get into a macho man? Because we want to talk. Oh, sorry, just before, give me the final margin on your predictions.
Well, we know that. We know what we would like, which is an old-fashioned no-sniff game.
Yep.
Sorry, people.
Pointer.
Sorry, people. It's not going to happen.
Ain't happening.
It is going to be a relatively close game. I actually think the margin will probably be under 18 points.
Okay.
So I do think Freo win, but I think my line margin would definitely be under 18.
Yep.
So yeah, I just think similar to what we did with the Gold Coast, where we got the lead early and just
held
bit of gapping, but then sort of held. They came hard at the end, but we're just able to hold on. I think that's kind of the style in which we play. Like if we're able to, particularly in the first quarter, I think if we're within, let's say things don't go our way and we're down by 2 or so goals, 2 or 3 goals tops, I reckon, then we're on like Donkey Kong. I just don't want to be down by 4 goals.
Yeah.
4 goals plus is not good in that first quarter.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get off to a good start. I feel like the last month we haven't had those situations where we've got off to a good start and we've, kind of been able to get on with the game. 2 goals 2 to 4 goals 5. Last game, 0 goals 5 to 3 goals 2. Port Adelaide game, we came out of the blocks, which was really good. Carlton, 2 goals to 5 goals. And then the West Coast, 6 goals 4 to 2 goals. So if we could have that have a really good start, get the boys up and about, get the crowd up and about, that'd be good. I think we're going to win about 82 to 70. There you go. 12 points.
Yeah, 12 points.
2-goal win. We get the 80. We keep them below 75.
Yep.
Right in the key zone. That's what we want to have.
Magic.
Oz, let's get into some Macho Men, shall we? This week's Macho Man is brought to you by Bloom Real Estate. Buying or selling, why not give Fraser a call on 0439 092248 or flick him an email, fraser@bloomwa.com.au. Oz, we're going to talk about 2 guys who, during the week, not only became Macho Men, they became All-Australian men.
Yes.
Jordan Clark and Caleb Sarong. Look, Jordan Clark, mate, what a player.
We've been lobbying.
Yep, heavy lobbying. Obviously traded to the club for pick 22, who became Toby Conway, who, Oz, is the only player on the Geelong list currently who is injured. He's out with a foot injury. So there you go. 5th in the Doig last year. At the moment this year, obviously 9th in intercept possessions, 10th in rebounds from 50, 16th in metres gained, 17th in kicks. Just averages 24 disposals, 5 rebound 50s and 5 marks essentially. Had some really outstanding games this year. Had 5 of his best 7 games, according to Champion Data this year, including the best on ground versus Sydney in round 2 and versus St Kilda in round 16, which is interesting, Oz, because against St Kilda, he had 20 handball receives.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Love that.
You can look up the handball receives. And also the round 9 game against Collingwood, in which we lost and we dominated every stat and lost.
Yep.
He had his career best game, 33 disposals, 8 marks, no rebound 50s, which I found very interesting.
Yep.
8 intercept possessions and 14 handball receives. So as we know, Oz, Jordan Clark needs to be getting on the end of some handballs around the back. Give it to Geordie. Away we go.
My mate, as you mentioned before, the rebound 50s, his season high was 11 versus Gold Coast, as you just, pointed out there.
Yeah.
So that is something that's making me lick my lips. I think Geordie Clark actually, making All-Australian, fantastic. Absolutely loved the fact that he got to don the blazer. Well-deserved, understated as a backman. You can rely on him to go back with the flight and put his body on the line. But the run and carry is probably the most impressive thing, and I'm hoping that he gets that opportunity to shine on the Saturday nights, which is great. And he's been on the pod a couple of times. We've had Geordie Clark on the pod a couple of times,
fellow podcaster,
and he's got a lot of thought behind when he answers a question, it's not just off the cuff. He actually puts the thought into the answers. Like he doesn't give the cliche answers, and I love that about potential leaders at the club.
Yep.
And his ability to answer questions honestly, which is great. So great to see him earn what I think he should have been an All-Australian last year. I understand there's a little bit of some argue a little bit of a fade, but I thought he did really well last season as well. So well-deserved, mate, from my opinion, and I think lockdown position for years to come at Fremantle.
Yeah, fifth best game, that game against Gold Coast, according to Champion Data. Only the third time he's received 9 or more votes in a game. The other one being against coaches' votes, that is. The other one being the 10 votes against St Kilda. And he also got 9 votes in the Collingwood draw, which he likes playing against Collingwood. He doesn't mind a Collingwood game, and especially in the big lights. And I don't think the big bright lights are really going to bother Geordie Clark.
No.
I think the way he goes about it, such a great pickup by Robert Walls, and a guy who, Xavier Ellis always talks about you need 5 or 6 All-Australians in your team. Now, he's one of the guys. Him, Hayden Young, him, Luke Ryan in the back line, Caleb Sarong, who we're about to talk about, Andy Brayshaw, potentially a Hayden Young, through your guts with you, Luke Jackson. And then, the guys,
Josh Tracy.
Shai Bolton, Josh Tracy, potentially in the future in your forward line. And speaking of Caleb Sarong, what a year he had, mate. This is his third All-Australian. So he's gone 3 All-Australians, 2 Doigs. He'll probably win his third, I'd say.
Yep.
Come year end.
Predicted it.
Rising star, 4-time Glendenning Allen medal winner. He was the number 1 in the for this year for total centre clearances, 2nd for clearances, 2nd for contested possessions, 5th for stoppage clearances, 9th for inside 50s, 11th for disposals. His best game was round 4 versus the Western Bulldogs when we really needed to get a guy on our back. 38 disposals and 15 clearances. Round 15 versus Essendon was his 2nd best ever game with 35 disposals and 2 goals.
Casual 149 Supercoach points.
That's it. When he gets 28 disposals this year, we're 11-0. Less than 28, we're 5-7. So that's a little thing that probably, Gold Coast might be focusing on. And in his career, when he gets plus 28 disposals, he's 36-17. So, he has been the backbone of our team. He has been the driving force. Clearances, he's a red hot chance for a Brownlow. Given clearances and
he's ranked, like you said, rank 1 in centre clearances per game day.
I think the other thing as well is I think he gets a little bit of mongrel about him when he plays against Matt Rao because it's Vic Country versus Vic Metro. They were both the captains. I think people not that they didn't rate Sarong, but they banged on about Matt Rao like he was the next big thing, and Sarong just quietly went about his business, and he actually proved that he was better. He was better. So, absolutely outstanding stuff by Caleb Sarong. Another All-Australian, only behind, equal with, I think, Fifey now, and only behind Pav in the most All-Australians for the Dockers. And at such a young age, you think, if he stays in purple, he's going to be getting a lot more All-Australians.
Yeah, look, absolutely. I love how Caleb Sarong goes about it. We talked to him. This is during the COVID time where we had to do like the cross pod.
Yep, the remotes.
And I remember we'd lost and Caleb Sarong came on and it was just a raw interview. And I'm not sure if they still have access to it on the thing, but his answers screamed leadership and just like, this is not good enough, but in a way that it was just matter of fact and succinct, not pulling any punch, not giving the cliches, just actually, no, this is why it's not good enough. This is what we need to do to improve and all that sort of stuff. And I was so impressed that such a young man had such a stable head to be able to answer those questions. And I thought, we got this guy though. This guy's like next level.
Elite operator.
And I think has been able to lead that midfield and do exceptionally well. If it wasn't for the fact that the umpires glaze Dacos on a regular basis, I would think he's not a shoo-in, but a very, very strong chance to win the Brownlow. It's just that for whatever reason, Dacos, they love frothing over Dacos. It's like, I don't know, he belongs in like a, what do you call it, the Krispy Kreme factory, mate, glaze everywhere.
I think that you'd be surprised how much impact clearances have on the umpires' decisions. because it's that thing that they are close to and they see, and like Lockie Neal clearance machine. Who won it last year?
Who did win it? Like, was it Crisp?
Crisp even. Cripps
Yeah.
clearance machine. You know, like clearances matter a lot.
It's a midfielder's medal.
Him winning clearances is so important. All right, Oz, let's get into our Sonam Capital listeners' questions, shall we? This week's listeners' questions is brought to you by Sonam Capital. Dockers fans, ready to score bigger with your finances? Look no further than Sonam Capital as your trusted financial brokers. They specialise in home loans, business loans, construction and property loans, equipment loans, and even foreign exchange. They'll help you tackle your financial goals and set you up for victory on and off the field. So don't miss out now. Visit sonamcapital.com or call Nick on 0409 62 65 61. That's 0409 62 65 61. And let's build your financial future together, Oz. This is for you from Jordan Hall. We've made finals, big tick. But what is the pass mark on this season?
Winning
this final.
You got to win a final. It's one thing to make the 8, and I think the amount of wins great. And I think credit to the organisation for getting us to this point. But in terms of calling it a successful season, is at least winning a final, if not 2. But again, we're just going to live in the moment, Duck. We're going to say win this final first, and then we'll move on to the next one. So that's my take. That's my take on that. All right, Tim Kentros, Duck. Do you think it's our game plan to absorb the initial pressure of teams, then flick the switch into go mode? Seems we back our fitness at the end of games too.
Well, I don't think the thought process is
rope a dope.
Let them kick a couple of goals and we'll fight our way back. I think it's that, you know, you don't want to spend all your petrol tickets in the first quarter, you know, so it's very much every now and again, we do absorb and we see what they're doing and we're able to adapt and adjust. I'd love to see us just, you know, like I'd really love to see us. So it's like be up by 4 goals at quarter time, 8 goals, 10 goals.
Just gap it
and leave it. But we know that's not going to be the case. I think as well, we've obviously, as long as we don't kick ourselves out of the game in the first half, we're always a sniff.
The interesting thing, I go back to this game, the prelim against Sydney, where that could quite possibly have been one of the most dominant early displays, but just couldn't get reward for effort. And it took us a while to kick that first goal. And then once we started getting on a roll, you know, then, you know, it was looking pretty good. But I think a lot of supporters look back to that as an expectation of where we should be, is to dominate teams by that much and then put up the score. It's just not necessarily how we play. I don't think that's, and it's not a knock. It's not a knock at all on the club. It's just the manner in which we play. I just don't think it's a.
We kicked 2 goals 9 in that prelim in the first quarter. 2 goals 9, and then we kicked like 5 goals.
That's 11 scoring shots, brother.
Yeah. 11 scoring shots to 3, and it was just like, but then we just gapped them in that second quarter. So, I mean, if we can do like like I said on the Washed Up podcast, if we can, kicking accuracy is going to be the thing the only thing that lets us down if we allow that to happen. This one for you from Dampier Dreaming. Which of the current Dockers is going to kick 11 goals in a game to break Modra's legendary haul?
Tough one. That's a tough one. At this stage, you would have to argue Vossi.
Vossi?
Yeah, because he's more likely to be in the 50. I think JT's roaming up the ground a little bit more, probably needs to spend more time inside 50 to be able to be eligible for said 11 goals in a game. Jai is just magic with what he does with the ball in hand. Like, he can kick the ridiculous goals, but doesn't necessarily get the ball delivered to him as frequently as what it's going to Voss. And I think if Voss takes his opportunities and they keep kicking it to him, and if he's on one, the prancing pony, mate, I tell you.
Now, Oz, the record for obviously most goals in the final was Pav with 6 against Geelong in that.
Do you remember that?
Brilliant elimination.
Mate,
do I remember
do you remember
I remember
that?
exactly where I was sitting in Karratha. All right. And Pav's kicked 4 goals. The only person to kick more than 4 goals in a final is Pav. Sonny Walters has kicked 3 a number of times. Pav, Barlow, Ballantyne and Walters with 3 goals won. Do you think anyone's going to go past that or join those guys? Anyone kicking more than 3 this weekend?
Yeah, potentially. I think both Jai and Voss have potential to kick multiple goals because I think the opportunity will present itself. But again, I go back to this. There's one guy that if you need a goal and you're desperate for a goal, there's one guy that constantly presents in whatever format, whether he's inside 50 or whatever. The big kahuna just seems to be the guy when we need a goal, kicks a goal.
Yep, love it.
So I love it. All right, this one's from Tim Grijuk. Hope I pronounced that correctly. I probably butchered your name. Who are your picks, Duck, to elevate their game the most across the final series?
I think I'd love to see Bolton and Jackson obviously do it. They've done it before. Hayden Young, maybe, might be the guy. Is there any kind of left fielder that you can think that's going to take their game to the next level?
Well, you're already impressed with what Murphy Reed does, so I can't expect him to go to next level. There are guys that are knocking on the door to potentially blow a game apart. I think Bolton has knocked on the door to tear the game apart, but I wouldn't have said that, he's played good games, but is it time for him to really just rip this game apart? And I'd say the answer is yes. I also think Dogger Jackson as well can have one of those dominant performances. I think, don't forget sneaky Sean Darcy, strong vein of form, playing himself well into his top level of fitness, which is good. And the other thing, Duck, I think it was 62% game time, if I'm not mistaken, for Hayden Young last game we played.
Yeah, a lot up forward as well.
So I would say that probably increases. The volume's probably going to go up to the mid 70s, one would imagine.
Yep.
So that's a possibility too. Yeah.
All right. This one's from WH Lug. If you could sub in one player from the 2013-15 era to enhance the balance of this weekend's team, who would it be?
Stephen Hill.
Put him on a wing?
Put him on a wing.
Easy.
I mean, if you put Pav in, it's just going to be too many forwards.
Yep.
Otherwise, I'd automatically say Pav. Dave Mundy would be, oh, God, Dave Mundy. Forgot about Dave Mundy in the mids, big body. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
All right.
Just getting tingles down there, mate. All right. This is from James Marshall. Would you rather the game be wet or dry, considering our results in the wet this year have been positive?
Yeah, results in the wet have been positive, although I'd prefer a dry game just because I think it suits us a little bit better. But, I mean, that's just selfishly. Whatever happens, I just want a W. And I think if it more likely means we're going to win because it's a bit wetter, then let's go for it. Dominic Italiano, I could be off here, but do we all of a sudden have the best forward line in the finals? Voss, Tracy, Amiss, Switter, Bolton, Reed, and Freddie. It was once our weakness and now our strength. How likely do we stack up against the other 7 teams, Oz?
Very strong. Very strong. Don't forget Jackson rolls up there as well.
Yep, Dogger.
Oh, Darcy's no slouch going forward. He can take a mark and kick a goal.
Yep.
Reliable set shot. Love his work. Yeah, I reckon it's right up there. If we let's just go through it. Okay. Do I think our forward line's better than Hawthorn? Yes. Do I think it's better than GWS given injuries? Absolutely. Do I think it's better than Geelong? Well, Cameron's good, but I'd say overall, yes.
They got some good players.
They got some good players, but
they
got some good players, but I'm still going yes.
Brisbane?
Brisbane are just their smattering of decent players is borderline egregious. But in terms of their forwards, they've got probably 3 really good forwards, but I'd say collectively, we could probably get the nod over them.
Yep.
Collectively. Who else am I missing there? Adelaide? Yeah. Yep.
I think Adelaide. With Rankin out?
Yes.
No. And given that old mate didn't come back in, did he? Did Rochelle come back in? I don't think he did. Keys,
no,
Thorpe,
no.
Neil Bullen, Taylor, Walker, Fogarty. I can't see him on here. No.
Yeah, add those other guys in. That's a bit different.
If you put Rankin and,
yes.
But that's the thing. I think Switkowski going out, Dudley coming in, that does weaken us a bit. I think GWS, Hawthorn's forward line's actually pretty solid. It's just their second, like Kelsey Deer hasn't really set the world on fire coming back from injury. Mitch Lewis the same. Same with old Two Phones Chol. but Gunston's been really good.
Mm.
And obviously Ginnivan and Watson are solid. Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? But I think it has. The big thing is that once upon a time, our forward line was our big weakness.
Mm-hmm.
Now it is as good as the midfield, as good as the back line.
Yep.
I think that's more the thing, isn't it?
Yeah, love it. All right, this one from Tani J. Dark. If you could loan in a player from another current team who is not playing finals to replace Wags, who would it be?
Oh, it's just before I answer this. How rowdy would it be if we did do a guillotine style draft? So the bottom 10, all their players go into a draft, and then like the what you get for being the premier or the minor premiers is you get the number 1 pick all the way down to 8th. But then it snakes, maybe.
Yeah, okay.
So you get
draft.
one and
I got one immediately that comes to mind.
I mean, obviously Bont as a big bodied mid. Cripps as a big body mid would be nice. I know the Chad, you're thinking the Chad.
Well, no, I'm thinking Butters.
Oh, Butters. Oh, yeah, Butters. Oh, yeah, Butters would be great. I think also.
Oh, and the Chad.
Sam Darcy.
Oh,
he's a freako.
Yeah, but we got massive.
Yeah, I know, but Sam Darcy is an upgrade in your forward line.
But are you getting? This is a good question. This is a bloody good question. So are you getting maximum reward for upgrading your forward from
Voss or Mr. Darcy?
Mr. Darcy, or are you getting
Mr. Darcy?
Mr. Darcy, or are you getting better reward for getting in, say, the Chad, or getting in
as another midfielder?
As another mid.
Yeah, and I think that other mid would be a treat, like getting in Errol Goulden on the wing. Like how good would that?
I forgot about Errol.
Errol.
Oh,
yeah, or a big body mid.
Errol.
Yeah. What about Nazir?
Oh, Wangan
Miller. Chuck him on a wing.
Oh, my God. How did I forget this guy?
Exactly.
Ugh.
What about this one, Oz? This from Luke Yeats.
Yep.
With all the trade rumours pointing to exits to Brody and Reedy, with a hopefully re-signing of Raz, do you think there's anyone we could potentially bring in next year? What holes do we need to fix?
One game at a time, Duck, and I don't focus on that until the season's over.
Okay, can I ask you this hypothetical trade that I heard?
Yep.
I think it was from Gary Lyon. Okay, so Carlton.
Yep.
Trade Curnow to Sydney.
Mm-hmm.
Sydney trade Warner to the Dockers.
Oh, my God.
But the Dockers have to trade Jackson to Carlton.
No.
Don't do it?
No. Jacko stays.
So,
as in, I want him to stay.
Yeah, but if the trade is essentially Jackson for Warner, is the team better or worse next year?
I love the fact I'm in the moment of the two rucks working. I've been on record to say, give it a chance, let it percolate. Let it percolate, let it simmer. And it has. So I would like to see what else we can do in that space. But by God, the Chad, mate, the Chad.
Anyway.
All right, this one from Tristan Shepard. Could have got a leg up for a Shepard there. Being at finals now and potentially Fife's last game, do you think the shackles will come off and we will see some vintage crash and bash Fife?
Well, Fife actually had a pretty good game as sub when he came on again for the Gold Coast game. What did you think about, just getting back to you, Glenn Jakovic? Did you see his
I did.
stuff on Fife?
Look, I know people bag him, right? And I understand people get defensive. But what he's saying isn't necessarily like inaccurate.
Yeah.
What he's saying is not inaccurate. And he's not having a go at Nat. He's just saying, look, is he going to bring that burst? Again, no. But I think what Jacko probably didn't really look at is the actual conditions.
Yeah.
I think the conditions suit Fife.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be a lot slower.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's going to be wet. His big body is going to be, and I think we've been building beautifully. And I think his build-up has been perfect. And they haven't been willing to give him more game time. They've been steadfast on what they wanted to do. Is this the time? Now, can I just say this, Duck?
I think he'll be sub shortly.
Well, he is. Yeah. But I'm going to go on a rant. No, it's not a rant. It's just, I know JL does not. JL, you do not listen to this podcast. I know you don't. But if somehow someone gets a message to you, it's this. If the game in the second quarter is looking, how do we say this?
Slipping away. Yep.
For the love of all things good, Nathaniel warms up in the second
Yeah, get
second
him on
quarter.
a bit earlier.
He's got to come on in the third.
There
is absolutely no point playing him in the fourth quarter.
Game's over.
Brisbane style.
Yep.
That's my only message. Because the boys will lift when the big number 7 comes out in those massive quads. The Quadzillas come on, and he's ready to roll. And yes, I get what Jacko's saying. He doesn't kick the footy in that, but guess what? In the rain, big body clears. Like when did you tell me, Duck? When has he had his best game this season? He's been injured, but when has he had his best game? That would be at Peel when it absolutely
bucketed down.
peed down.
Well, are you calling for it, Oz? Let's say if it's torrential tomorrow.
Yeah.
Saturday night is start in the afternoon.
It's going to rain. I think it's like 6 mil of rain on Saturday.
But it starts coming in sideways.
Yes.
And you're warming up and you're thinking, well, we've got 10 minutes to decide who the sub is.
Yep.
Is there the chance that if it is looking ominous, it's going to keep raining, that maybe a Dudley goes to sub and Fife plays?
Okay, so I would be looking at it in this manner. Not that, again, people look at, what are you talking about? But if it's raining, you start Fife because you build with your best, because the game is not going to be fast if it's already raining. It's and I'm not talking about a little bit of drizzle. If it's rain, the wet conditions, you get Fife on to start, and you get out of Fife what you get out of Fife. If he lasts a quarter, a half, or whatever it is, you get the best version of him early and build that. Back your structure and back your fitness levels to be able to outrun by the fourth. And then you get the best of both worlds, because then you bring an impact player in Dudley on.
Yep.
When the players are probably tired and fatigued and so forth, and hopefully he lasts 3 quarters, and you bring him on, and then he's got an impact. So I would say in that case, yeah. What about you, mate? Curious.
Oh, look, to be honest, I think they maybe, if Matt Johnson was right to play, I would have played him and had O'Driscoll as a sub. I think that has more of an impact. I just think back to that, the way O'Driscoll is as a character and as a person, his energy that he brings. I think the Fife stuff has been, we've carried him. And I think that Western Bulldogs game, he had one influence on one thing. Well, but then you go to the Port Adelaide game and he did have a part to play. The thing I worry about is an injury early. And he's got to play a full game, or I know we can rotate him through and you can carry a midfielder in particular, but I just worry about the game being lost, like Jacko said, on the selection table because of sentiment.
Yeah.
Like, this game isn't a game of sentiment. As much as we would love it to be, it's not. It's cutthroat, it's brutal, there's no feelings in footy. The feelings in footy is winning. That's the feeling. That's what you want. That's the feeling you want. But I think it gives us a great opportunity to farewell him, hopefully on a positive note this time, instead of what happened last time where, we're losing by 10 goals. He's out there. They could have definitely brought him on a bit earlier and got us a bit more up and about, but that's life. Oz, this one for you from Chili Willy. This you haven't got any left, do you?
I've got one more.
You got one more? When do you think the media team should drop the Wharfie time? Within the first quarter to get the fans up and about, or what?
100%. Yeah, first quarter, bounce down.
Bounce down. Straight away. Love it.
Yeah, look.
First bounce.
Yeah.
Wharfie time.
What about every goal we score? Every goal we score, just put it up there. Yeah, I want some shit-scared Gold Coast people out there. I want stained red shorts out there. I want brown poo stains from Gold Coast players.
What about this, Oz?
Yeah.
So the sun's going to go down at about, sunset says here, 6:03.
Yeah.
Roughly around that time.
Yeah.
I reckon first goal kicked as soon as it's dark. So let's go, we're looking halfway through the second quarter. Lights out.
Bang.
Boom.
Boom.
We could be up by 8 goals. Don't care.
Don't care.
Just get the fans going crazy.
I want it.
Yep.
I want it.
I want some Wharfie time.
Last one from _laughingman_92. In what way is the 2025 team better than the 2022 team that played finals last time? And can we go one better?
So hopefully winning that semi-final, which we lost against Collingwood. But The team is as such. So the guys who aren't playing anymore at the Dockers, Blake Acres gone to Carlton, Lockie Schultz at Collingwood, Griffin Logue at North, James Aish, Will Brodie, Rory Lobb at Western Bulldogs. Sam Switkowski's injured, but Brandon Walker, James Aish, and Will Brodie all playing at Peel. David Mundy and Sonny Walters have retired. Coming in, we've obviously got Bolton, Jackson, and O'Meara have come from other teams. We've drafted in Murphy Reid, Josh Tracy, Patrick Voss, Carl Warner, Neil Erasmus, and Isaiah Dudley. Nat Fyfe is going to play his first final since 2015, which, shout out to Jody again, said that to me this week, said, if you said at the end of 2015, when we first started this pod, Oz, if you said, hey, guess what, in 10 years' time, Fyfe is going to play his next final.
Yeah.
You would have thought we had rocks in our head.
I probably would have packed up the pod back then, actually, to be honest.
Yeah, we wouldn't have even started, mate. Just looking at the guys, obviously, Giant Miss, I think he's actually slightly decreased from 2020, even though it was his first season.
2022?
2022, sorry.
Yep.
So he hasn't slightly decreased. He's probably about the same as when he first started, because that was his first couple of games. Bailey Banfield has got a little bit better, but in a different role. Andy Brayshaw, remember 2022 was the season he won the MVP, so I think he's kind of stayed about the same. Heath Chapman is probably about the same. Jordan Clark's obviously better as an All-Australian. Brennan Cox has got slightly worse. He was in the squad in 2022. He hasn't quite returned those lofty heights. Sean Darcy as well, coming off a best and fairest to then not quite, there and thereabouts. Michael Frederick, about the same. Alex Pearce, about the same. Lukey Ryan, about the same. Caleb Sarong, he's way better. He was great in 2022, but he's got even better. And Hayden Young, I think, different role, but slightly better. And Noddy O'Driscoll. I actually think Noddy O'Driscoll potentially has stayed about the same, if not got a little bit worse because his goal-kicking prowess and that. But interesting, Oz, this is the one thing I realised when looking at that, because I think the team is obviously different. But the Will Brodie piece of it was the thing that got me going, because 2022, Will Brodie's in the team. He plays these really the steak knives. Do you know, Oz, he didn't even finish in the top 10 of the fairest and best? So as a midfielder that's played majority of games, he didn't finish in the top 10 of the fairest and best. So I think that shows where he was at in regards to what the coaches expected and what he was delivering. Even though he's getting lots of possessions, it didn't necessarily mean that he was doing the right thing for the team. So a bit of an interesting one there. And I think obviously he'll probably be at Port Adelaide next year with Josh Carr. But Oz, I think this is a much more mature, better side. I think there's our guys that we brought in, like if you just think Bolton, Jackson and O'Meara for Akers, Schultz and Lobb and chucking Griffin Logue there, like it's just a better team. I think Aish and Brodie, they're okay. But Erasmus, Warner, Patrick Voss, Josh Tracy, Switter, I would love to see. I think Brandon Walker's an interesting one. He was top 10 fairest and best last year. Can't get a game because Warner's gone past him. So there's a few little matchups that are very similar. And, there's a few players that are obviously better and worse and things like that. But I think overall, a bit more of a mature side, a mature J-Lo. And I think it's a team that can go out there and hopefully we don't, we're not down by 6 goals and fighting our way back. One of the all-time victories. Hopefully it's just a nice, easy, get in, competitive day, contested possession, ground ball gets, clearances. That's where we win that game. So,
100% agree with that. I want to go back a few questions, Duck. You asked me about guys going to the next level. I forgot about this guy who has so much potential to get to the next level if you just get that contest right and play his best game is Michael Frederick.
Yeah. He kicked 30 goals for the season.
Yeah,
mate.
but if he hit, the question was who can tear a game apart? That cat can tear a game apart. If you give him an opportunity to and he takes it with both hands, he has potential to rip it apart.
I'll be very interested to see how Isaiah Dudley goes as well. Just given his fitness, and I think it's something he will build on in the off-season. I'm really keen to see Isaiah Dudley with the pre-season under his belt.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think he's got so much talent. He just needs to work on that AFL fitness, which is a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
I really want to see him on the weekend as well, really. Coming in, being exciting, setting the game up, just playing free and just going for it.
Yep.
All right, on that note, Oz, make sure you get around us. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're at Purple Rain 95. TikTok, YouTube, Gmail, we're at the Purple Rain 95. Remember, we'll have a final siren pod after the game in the rooms. Make sure if you're wearing any of the merch and we've had heaps of merch sales. If you're wearing merch to the game, please take a photo, send it to us. We will post it on our Instagram, in particular in our stories. Really love to see it. We'll be up and about. We want to see everyone there. Oh, I forgot to buy the Book the Bus shirt, so I was... Oh, sorry, mate. I knew I forgot something this week. Oh, well. Sorry, I was on that note.
See you guys.
On that note, see you later, guys.